Welcome to a Mexican Crossing Lines. We have a special guest today, Hukun Dubar. Share this out. We're live streaming on Facebook at 88.1 Fargo Moorhead, YouTube at Duke 1517, and Twitch at a Mexican Crossing Lines. So join us, get the word out. It's going to be a great show.
Hey everyone, if you have any comments or questions about today's program, if you want to send a question or comment to our guest, Hukun Dabar, today, he's a mayoral candidate in Fargo. You can email me at cindy@kpppfm.com or duke@kpppfm.com. You can also leave us a call-in message at our message line, 701-566-0917. Hey, welcome everyone to a Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And today we have a very special guest who has been doing a lot of work in the community. He is currently running for mayor in Fargo. Hukun Dabar, welcome to the show. It's not the first time you've been here, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last. We're very happy to have you.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for having me. It's a great day.
And
it's good to be back.
You have been on the show before because you've been doing a lot of work in the community, and today you're coming to talk about an issue that has been plaguing not just Fargo Moorhead but the entire country, and I dare say the entire the entire world during this pandemic, the workforce issue. And there's been a reduction in workforce because of illness, and we've had a lot of people out of work because of COVID. What are the issues you are seeing here in the Fargo Moorhead community, and what are you doing to address them?
Cindy, first, thank you for having me. Secondly, when COVID hit, I think this is the only radio that helped us a lot to spread, information about COVID-19 through our own native languages, not only Somali, not only Arabic, not only Kurdish, but all languages that all this ethnic community that live here speak, and it's been good. It's been radio that whenever everybody hear the voice of Kanye or the voice of other colleagues that work with us, like, hey, I heard your voice, I heard the shadow voice, and it helped us a lot, and it helped us also to stop, COVID misinformation that was going on in the community. First, and I think one of the main reasons that's happening in our area, not only when COVID, even before COVID hit, was workforce issue. And workforce issue was big since I came to this community from 2014 till now. The main issue that job seekers and also the employers are facing is all about workforce. And this is an issue that I've been working since I arrived to this community, and basically creating an access for our most vulnerable community that live here, working with them, helping them on finding a good paying jobs, work with employers, and still the challenge is there. And the problem, the jobs are there, and there's so many folks as well who are looking for jobs that doesn't get the right job that's needed. And what you always see is the employers post the job, 3 to 4 individuals will apply, especially if I talk about the experience of the new American population. 3 or 4 individuals will apply, and within 1 week or 2 weeks, you'll get an email that they got another person. And then after some few days, you see that they posted the job again, still there. They didn't find the right person. And this is what we have seen in the community. And what we learned on our period is there's a lack of access, and there's lack of leadership as well.
So do you think that the issue that you're talking about, where the same job is posted again and again, and people are applying for that job, but they're not being called in for an interview, or they're not being given the job, is it an issue, do you think, of turnaround? People not being satisfied with the employee that comes in to seek the job, or is it something else?
I think one is because the folks that we always help and is the new American population that don't speak the language, that don't speak English. One, because once they come to our office, we help them on put together on their resume, ask them about their work experience they had here or their native home, put together the resume, and then send it the application. And first is basically is without even interviewing the person, without even not reaching out to them, and they don't get response. And then the ones who got response, what we do is we go with them on the interview sometimes, and sit down with them, and try to convince the employer that they can do the job. We know that they don't speak the language, but they can do the job. And we have tried with many employers here in the community that at least, which they already, there's a workers that we find them that work for them, that, try 2 individuals from the new American population. And when they work for them, then they will ask you, could you have more? Do you have any other person who's seeking for jobs? But there's folks that still hesitant about it. And I think what I realized, because there's a non-fear that they can do the job, safety, they don't speak the language. What can we do? What's going to happen? So from there, the ones that we have worked with, they keep hiring the new Americans, and there's the ones that still, like, no, I don't think it's a good time, the right time to hire them, and then, which as well, we had discussion at the city hall as well, told them that, we need leadership on this. We need access. Employers want surety, and they need, because I don't know, Cindy, if you remember, one time there was a new American job fair we hosted in Moorhead Mall, and I think over 400 people came, and no one was hired.
Wow.
Employers came, they're looking for jobs, no one was hired. And I think that is something that I think I can bridge. I can create that relationship. I can create that access, and especially hire the folks that are still here looking for jobs. And if you look at here in the community, you'll see that not only the new Americans, especially people of color, you'll see that they work in 2 to 3 jobs.
Right.
They don't want it; they want to work, but they're lacking the access. And if you're not creating the access, and mind you that they still want more people to come to the area to look for jobs. If you're not giving opportunity to the ones who are here, so what do you think about the ones who are coming?
So,
right?
So it seems like, you have the perfect opportunity at this juncture to be that connector, to give that access, to provide not just the employees, but the employers and the city with some insight, with some assistance. First of all, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but you are running for mayor, so I'm going to. Why don't you tell us, like, what suggestions, what advice would you give to the employer, first of all, in helping the employees, especially new Americans, but employees in general, to apply for the jobs? What kinds of things could they do to make it easier to the employee to figure out what they want?
No, one, as you said, Cindy, yes, I'm running for mayor. And if you look at my platform I put together, I'm going to create a workforce department at the city hall. One, the reason why I need to do is basically, I'm not just want to help I'm not just going there just to help the job seekers, but I just want also to help the employers to get the right people that they need.
Right.
And what we need basically is a lot of time you hear that, they don't have the experience, they don't have, they can't do the job, they don't have the skills. One, the reason why we want to have the workforce department is we want to create a workforce department that will work with our local universities here, and the job seekers that are looking for jobs. That's if they don't speak the language, or if they speak the language both, that they can go to the university and get the training that they needed. Also working with the non-profit sectors in our community who are doing workforce placement, and also have a partnership with the city hall, and to make sure that we fill the jobs that are available. And also employers, and they need also to create a good working environment for individuals that's going to work for them there. Give them living wage, and we're going to give them the skill that they needed. in partnership with the local universities here in our community, work with the non-profit sectors that are working on workforce development, and work with the chamber as well, and make sure that we empower people, we prepare them before even they get the job, give them scholarship for certain skills that they need, technology, welding, forklift, and all that. So we prepare them before even they get the job. Anyone who wants, to get trained while working with, utilizing the resources that we have in the area. One, right now, the resources are not available. One, even forget about the ones who don't speak English. The ones that went schools here, the ones that went university here, are moving out from the city. And forget about the ones that don't speak the language. But the one that went school here can speak the language are moving out from the city.
Mm-hmm.
Then, the ones that don't speak the language is like, you don't have even what to say, right? So I think that access is not there. And we're going to, that's what I'm thinking about, creating that access for, both our job seekers and also the employers as well.
So there's a conundrum, a problem, I guess, with the folks that are, leaving our community because they're going to greener pastures or bigger cities, if you will, to find jobs. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's the issue of how do we keep all of this talent, or how do we invite the talent to stay in our community? I'm going to shift you over now to the employee. And mm-hmm. what would you say to someone? Because if somebody is listening to you right now and they're unemployed or they want to become employed, whether they're a new American or not, they're struggling with some of the requirements of job placement. Can you give me some examples of how you would help those employees in terms of accessing some skills, whether it's the higher level skills or just entry basic level skills, and what kinds of opportunities are available for someone that is just trying to enter the market and they're having a hard time?
I think one, this is an issue that I myself has faced, when I came to this community. It has been a challenge for me as well. One, I think you have, to look for more connection, to talk to more people. The resources are there, but it's not available. It's hidden. It's unknown. You can't see it. And what I see, having more employment counselors and working with the employers to showcase their job opportunity very well to the community. And then also, putting those more requirements, putting less requirement and on the job description to make sure that you get the right people. If they don't have the experience, you can train them. You have the resources to train them, to prepare them. And, at the city hall level, this is what was needed to be done, basically give scholarships, give resources to universities to create a short skills for employers here in the community. And then, working with the employers to make sure that their jobs are available, and we'll have a city hall that will work with them one by one to make sure that they feel that the jobs that are available in them, they put in the market, follow up with them. Did you fill that jobs? We have for you 10 individuals that's looking for certain jobs like that. Can you work with them? What is the challenge that you are facing with them? This is an area where we have job service of North Dakota in Fargo, and we have a lot of computers there that they can help people who are looking for jobs. But why, what is going on there? What is happening? Why, they're not bridging all that? Because it's not diverse, one, and it's not, and secondly, it's not, what I can say is that, when you come there, they'll tell you, sit at the computer, and you need a person to work with you one-on-one that can understand what you're talking about, that can understand what you're looking for, that the place can be also environmental friendly, that you can work with the person one-on-one, because the person sitting there, come there, looking for a job, need help. and sometimes it depends on how you met with the person and how they help you, and that may lead you even not to go back there.
Right.
So diversify and make it a place that anyone who's looking for help, that this is a place that they can come for help. And I think at the city hall level is anybody who's a job seeker, and we will make it a place where a market where we can get all the jobs that are opening, and also work with the employers, making sure that you don't have to talk about filling the workforce every time. We have the people here, right here in the community, and when work with them one-on-one, make sure they give opportunity to these folks. And think about, the mayor reaching out to this employer, telling them that I have 10 individuals. I can see that you have 10 positions that are open. We have 10 individuals that are looking for jobs. Can you work with them? It's a powerful, it's a power. They will take it there. It's an access, right?
Right.
And I think that is what the city hall need to do. And that is what I'm going to help any person, who's seeking for a job, to make sure that they get the right job that they needed.
That's wonderful. And, I wanted to talk to you about what kinds of partners and resources you're working with in the community, because it's not just the what is it, workforce placement. You have
Yes.
You have the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, how are you working with all these different partners?
I think I'll tell you this. I think the Chamber of Commerce, I did not work with them, and simply because these are the folks that were supposed to bridge all this, and from the employer side, and from the job seeker side, from the government side, and I think you can see always that the studies out there. And I'm sure that those studies that they always create and come up, they're not reaching out to the right people. And a lot of time when you hear that, there's a lack of workforce in the community, there's no person to hire, and seeing people come into our office, looking for jobs, and then you're like, what is going on? What is not right? And I think the chamber need to understand that the city, it has grown, it has changed, and it's not the way it was before. And they need to come up with innovation ideas and ways to help ways to help the employers who are looking for job seekers, and to come up with different strategy to use, and to utilize the resources they have to reach out to the community and all that.
Yeah.
And I think United Way has tried that, and making sure that they work with the chamber. But I think the chamber need to stop, and the ideas and, the way they used to, the traditional way that they used to work. And I think they need to think about the city dynamics, and also come up with innovation ideas that they can, work with each and every person in the city.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is COVID. I don't know if we're ever going to be the same again. I think, I mean, obviously, the workforce has changed. A lot of people that were accustomed to working in an office setting or in a factory setting or whatever, they had to switch over to being at home, and this disrupted disrupted lives. The safety element, the different kinds of accommodations that businesses have had to make because COVID is still here. We're still living in a pandemic. Can you speak in your mind, what changes has the global pandemic done to work, to our workplaces? And is this something permanent? How do you think the pandemic, the COVID restrictions, etc., are going to affect the work environment going forward?
I think we have learned a lot during the pandemic that anything can happen, and there's no plan at all. I'll give you an example. Especially the folks that I was working with. when the pandemic hit, these are the folks that depend on paycheck to paycheck, and paying their rent was very difficult. Evictions and all that, and about our landlords here, how they behave, and especially to not only folks that we work to everybody. When you delay your rent, and when something happens to you, they don't care about all that. The eviction notice is always there, and so they were having it. It had a big problem to so many folks I know, and it actually, we wanted to make sure that, and I know Cindy, we came to a radio and talks about all this about with Stephen about the pandemic, how it was ravaging our community and what was happening. But I think what we have learned is this community who depends paycheck to paycheck, and that they don't have a place to work at that time, that there was no resources available, and for them, and to pay their rent, to pay their bills, to pay their food. We're depending on folks like Food Pantry to give out food to our community. Faith also, and who was also giving out food and to our community that the Shara Care coordinators were working on. I think the dynamic has changed, and the companies need to come up with different approaches of the folks that are working for them. And a lot of time you see that, and what I realized was, and I've seen that, is folks that are working 2 to 3 jobs that were unable to work the job that they used to work because of the morale, losing their morale that they had before they work, staying at home, fearing about COVID-19 and all that. It has changed a lot.
I mean, I don't think I will ever be able to go back to being the same person, and just in terms of like the trust issues of being in close proximity in closed groups. I'm definitely going to be washing my hands more all the time now. I definitely want to keep using my mask because I think that it protects me from the flu and the cold and just even allergens in the air. But you said something about people's morale and how that was affected. I feel like there has been a shift in the workforce in terms of what they're willing to accept. I mean, there's been a reduction in the number of workers. There's been a reduction in the number of people that are willing to do a certain kind of a job for a small amount of pay with great risk. And I'm talking during the pandemic, we're talking about the risk of losing your life, really. So workers expect more from their employers. Would you not agree with that? Do you think going forward that workers, and rightfully so, should have more expectations from the employers?
I'll tell you this, and this is what I'm hearing in the community and what's going on and what we are working on. What I find out is example, when Amazon came to this community, the folks that were not hiring the folks that I was working with were reaching out. Can you help us get job, folks that are looking for jobs? And whenever we used to reach out, they never respond to your email, your phone call. Amazon came, and all of a sudden they're here looking for job seekers, right? And that has changed the market, and employers need to learn that if you pay your workers a living wage, and not even $15, if you pay them $20 an hour or more than that, you can have this person forever, and then it's not about payment, about good working environment, treat them as human, not as an animals, because what you see that I've seen individuals that you get jobs for them, and then within 1 week or 2 weeks they quit the job.
Yeah.
And you take them to another place, they will stay there for years and years and years, and what they will tell you about, how the team lead, supervisors, are treating them, it's very hard. You will not think that these people have been treated like human, right? So I think what employers need to do is they need to understand that these folks that are working for them, these are humans. These are people who want to change their lives, and these are people who want to, also to help you, this company, to reach a level that you wanted to reach. Pay them, more than living wage, and you'll see from your productivity, right? And then treat them, make sure that the environment is friendly, and I'll tell you this right now. I don't want to mention, but some companies here, that the computer will fire you, right? That's also another thing that's happening. That the computer will fire you, and you clock in your job, and then you say you've been fired. You can't work from here. And so folks that don't speak English, right, that don't know how to use computer, and just being in it for 1 minute, or just not understand about the place that they're working on, and then the computer is firing them. How will you, and you're still looking for workers? How are you going to treat them, and how are they going to work for you?
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that you've been focusing on different areas of our community that need that need your support, that need our community support, especially in these difficult times of the pandemic. But I also want to commend you because I think it's incredible that you're running for mayor. You've done a lot, and I think it's important for people to get a proper introduction, to find out more about you. Would you be willing, just for the audience that doesn't know who Hukun Dabar is, talk a little bit about how long you've been living in our community and some of the outreach that you've done here, because you started a nonprofit to help other students in your community, and you've done a lot to really, assess the needs of the people around you and try to fit that need. And I wanted to give you a chance to tell people what that's been like.
Cindy, thank you. And I think I came to this community on 2014 February, and it was very cold. I came from Kenya. I came here to reunite with my mom. Give me 1 second.
Sure. I appreciate that Hukun has. We've been working with Hukun for a while, Duke. You want to talk a little bit about the journey?
Oh yeah, Hukun would do a radio show. It was a number of years ago. He would bring in community to talk about what's going on in the refugee community, resettlement issues, voting. He brought in guests from all over the community. In fact, at the time, because it was pre-COVID, we could pack people into the studio and stick up as many microphones we could. And
remember the good old days?
Try to move the cameras around so people could be on camera. But we focused a lot and put those on the radio station. And Hukun's working with Stephen Lugar and community members that are doing a COVID, information program with African music.
Broadcast.
Yep, it's at 2:00 every day on the radio, and there'll be more programs that come up, and they're partnering with community groups and also the North Dakota Department of Health, and that's a very good show that plays on the air. It's not a visual show, but it's an audio show, and it's in multiple languages.
That's important.
The last show that's running right now, there's 7 languages that are being spoken, so they translate everything that's being done. And Hukun's one of the people that presents on that program.
Yeah, and I think that it's been a great resource for the community. So that's just a little part, but why don't you talk more about what you did when you came here, Hukun?
Thank you. So I came 2014 in this community, and to come to reunite with my mom, and I and my siblings. And when I came, I joined M-State, Minnesota State Community and Technical College. That's where I started my education as well. And And then I started also a local nonprofit that was working with the new American families. And the reason why we started that one was basically because I had my own challenge when I came. The weather was one, and looking for jobs is another difficult. Lack of, resources which are there and you can't see, you can't find was another thing. And, so basically what we find out, me and, other colleagues as well, that we need to help our folks that don't speak the language, or vulnerable society in our area. And, Cindy, you are one of the folks that we reach out when we were looking for resources, and you help us and guide us as well. And I don't know if you can remember at that time. And then, been living to this community, went to school here, and I was working while also volunteering in this organization. I was also working on 2 different jobs in the area. I worked at Xerox at that time. I used to do customer service jobs. Used to make phone calls at night. Used to work night shift. Used to go to school. So, and I think so many people in this community, and especially folks and who are moving to this area, have challenges in one way or another, and had difficult getting resources and all that. And I went to school here, graduated from MSCM last year, Minnesota State University of Moorhead.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and then the local nonprofit I work here for the last 8 years, we've been working on employment, making sure that folks from our vulnerable side get resources, get employed, get hired, get good paying jobs. That was the overall work I was doing. I was being awarded by City of Fargo and City of Moorhead both, and about the work that we have done in this community. I and my other colleagues as well, and been volunteered, been organized events, advocated, organized a lot of community events. When COVID hit, Cindy, we were coming to your radio all the time, sharing information about COVID, and push back all misinformation that the immigrants were facing. So sorry about the background.
That's all right. I'm really, we're honored to have been able to work with you and, pay it forward and do some of the things that you've been doing when you've come to this community and tried to pave the forward for everyone else that's coming into the community. You want to make it easier for them because you've already had those challenges and you've already bested those challenges, and you want to make it easier for the people coming in behind, right? But you're also you're also a guy that came here to be with your family, with your mom. You said you came here to reunite with your family. You also have a beautiful family of your own, and I think that it's important when we're creating the best place for our family to live, that we engage with the community. And I don't think I've seen anybody do that as well as you have. Every time I look on social media, there's Hukun, and now he's meeting with these folks, and now he's at the... Do you have clones out there that are working with you? How do you do it?
No, Cindy, it's very hard for folks to find resources in our area. This community is very small, and folks, especially that looks like us, sometimes, I used to attend meetings here in our community, and back 2014, 15, 16, and 17, and then you'll see, I'll see that I'm the only person of color sitting on that table, and now has changed. Sorry about that.
It's wonderful that you're at the table. I think it's wonderful that you're at the table.
And now has changed. You see, look at Ishara right now. Ishara comprises of a lot of organizations in the community. There's Nepalese, there's Kurdish community, there's Liberian community, African Immigrant Minority Services. What we did was, whatever the work that we were doing in this community, we did not stop to one ethnic community. We try also to empower the other ethnic minority organization to build their capacity, to make sure also, they can become productive and organization towards their ethnic community. And that's why even working together on COVID-19, that has changed a lot,
Well, when we do well individually, when we try to help our neighbors do well, we all do well. And, one of the things that I'd really admire about your work, given the fact that you're a student, you have a job, you're trying to raise a family, but you're all about serving your community. I've noticed that about you. There's something very strong inside of Hukun, that you feel the need to serve your community, to be there as a resource for your community. And I want to partner with you, because we've been partnering on different projects. I want to continue to partner with you. As you probably know, I am immunocompromised, and I've had a really hard time during the pandemic in terms of doing that community outreach and being out there, talking to folks about the issues. But you're always doing that already. So I hope that we can have you back on the show on a weekly basis and talk about the issues that are going on in the community. We covered the workforce issue today, and hopefully we'll have comments and questions from the community that maybe you can address in a week. But would you be willing to come back on a weekly basis and touch base with us on what you're working on, what kinds of issues we need to talk about in our community, and do some of that outreach with me?
Every Saturday I'll come and join you to discuss about what is happening in our community. Even when I become a mayor, I will definitely come.
That would be wonderful. I would love that so much, because the perspective that you're bringing to us, the energy, the good vibes that you're bringing to us, it's so important. And, the morale, not only of our workforce, but of our entire community is important. And to lift that morale, to keep people engaged and wanting to prosper and thrive in the Fargo community, that's really important. I think that's something that you definitely deliver on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes, I was saying that I think that the energy and the morale lifting that you do is something that is very important, especially now when people, they've been cooped up for the last two years with this pandemic, and we need to see that kind of energy in helping us thrive and survive.
Yeah, people need hope. People need jobs, and homeless people need shelter. And I think what will be different from these other candidates that are running for mayor, they have been in the system for so long. If they wanted to change anything, they would have changed. And I think for me, someone who worked with individuals here in the community, the vulnerable side, everyone. And I want to put my experience into practice and help the larger community as well.
That's amazing. I hope that people got a chance to learn more about your journey. Duke and I have been honored to see you thriving in our community and doing all the wonderful things that you've been doing. It's been such a pleasure, and I hope to have you back next Saturday right here at 4, and we'll keep having this conversation.
Thank you, you and Duke as well. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Thanks for being with us here on A Mexican Crossing Lines. You've got to meet Mayoral Candidate for Fargo, Hukun Dabar. He's been wonderful in this community so far. I can't wait to see what he does next. And you can hear more about the outreach he's doing here in the community, informing us on all sorts of issues. I think I heard homelessness in there is one of the other things he wants to tackle as a topic. We should be having these community conversations, and we will be here on A Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You've been listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Good night and God bless.